In this video, we will be discussing about molarity and molality. Now, the difference that we have to remember, first difference that we have to remember here is molarity is the one with the R and molality is the one with an L. So there is R here, molarity, and this is a molality. There's an L. First of all, these two terms are used in chemistry for a very important reason. And that important reason is to measure the concentration of a solution. So both of these, molarity and molality, even though they are different, slightly different, they both are used for one common purpose, and that is to measure the concentration of a solution. So what do I mean by concentration and what do I mean by solution? Let us see that in a minute. Now consider you have a plate of salt. So this is a plate and there is a little bit of salt. And now you take a beaker and you fill this beaker up to a certain amount with water. So this much is water in this beaker. Now what you do is, now we know that this is salt and this is water, right? So you take the salt and you add it to water and stir it slightly. So now you can see that there are salt molecules here, small white colored molecules. These are small salt molecules. So this mixture, the mixture of salt and water, this mixture is what is known as a solution. This substance, which is present in very less quantity or which gets dissolved, is known as a solute. So this is a very important term. Please remember this term. The substance which is present in greater amount or which dissolves, this substance is known as a solvent. Solvent. So please remember these three terms: solute, solvent, and the third one is solution. Solution is nothing but the mixture of solute and solvent. In this case, the solute is salt and the solvent is water. These can be anything. The solute can be ammonia and solvent can be water, or most of the time some solvents are even alcohol. There can be literally any type of solute and any type of solvent. We just need to remember one thing, that solute is the one which gets dissolved and solvent is the one which dissolves other substances or which dissolves the solute. So now, what is concentration? Concentration, in simple terms, it is the percentage or amount of solute present in a solvent. So now when we know what concentration and solution means, let us see what molarity and molality is. Now let me first begin with giving you the formula. The formula for molarity is moles of solute upon volume of solution. And molality is, again we have in the numerator moles of solute, but what makes the difference, huge difference between molarity and molality is what is there in its denominator. Here we have volume of solution, here we are going to have mass of solvent. So we can clearly make out two very important differences. First of all, it is volume of solution. So we are considering volume, so the unit in the denominator will be in terms of liters. In molality, there is mass of solvent. So here we are going to consider the unit, unit of the denominator in kilograms. So first difference is we are going to consider liters and here we are going to consider kilograms. Now the second difference, most important difference is, for considering volume in molarity, we consider the volume of solution. Now what is solution? It is nothing but solute plus solvent. So we are considering both. If you take the same example of beaker and salt, beaker of water and salt, then solute will be salt and solvent will be water. So in the numerator we'll be having how many moles of solute we will be adding. The same will be in molality, the numerator, how many moles of salt. But in the denominator, we will be having volume of solution. So once you add salt, you check the volume. And that volume, you're going to write it here. You're going to consider the volume of salt molecules also in molarity. But in molality, you're considering only mass of solvent. So when you're taking water, then you're going to measure the mass of water alone without adding salt. So first difference is molarity you take it in liters and molality you take it in kilogram. The second difference is there is volume of solution. So you're considering both solute as well as solvent, whereas in molality you're considering only solvent. We are not considering the mass of solute. Now while solving the problems which we will be seeing in the next video, we want to make sure that no matter what data is given in the problem, you're always going to bring the data in two forms. So the first form is the numerator for both of these will be in terms of moles. So if they have given you in terms of grams or something, you gotta make sure that you convert it first to moles and then input the values in the formula. The second point that we need to remember is the denominator. The denominator must be in liters for molarity and kilogram for molality. So just make sure of these two things. No matter which quantity they have given you the data in, bring it into liters for molarity and kilogram into molality. If you remember these two, calculating molarity and molality will be the easiest thing in chemistry. The link to my next two videos, the first one is on problems of molarity and the second one is on problems of molality. Both will be in the description. Please make sure to check that out. It will really help in understanding the concepts in a much better way. Problems of molarity and the second one is on problems of molality. Both will be in the description. Please make sure to check that out. It will really help in understanding the concepts in a much better way.